Okay. I think that we can go ahead and start now. Let's just take a quick roll, and here we go. Can everybody see the PowerPoint? Sarah, it's all good? All right, everybody, thank you for joining us today for the first of 3 days of webinars, New York Mutual Trading's Virtual Expo. Thanks also to the folks joining us later on YouTube. Many thanks go out to the people who made it happen, our wonderful vendors, amazing customers, the best coworkers anyone could ask for. We started talking about this expo after officially canceling the Metropolitan Pavilion Expo, and it was framed as a way to connect vendors and customers in a post-pandemic world. And whatever you think about the situation, it's a fact that the food and beverage industry, especially the food and beverage industry of New York, has been one of the most affected in the country thus far, and many permanent changes have already taken shape. So in order to then without fear, find a way to connect our customers with new ideas, friends and producers overseas, and with each other, we decided to move to the virtual space. We have a lot of interesting things to talk about, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. We have tons of content for you next week, next Monday, and the Monday after that. You can sign up for free anytime on our website, nymtc.com. Absolutely tune in again, and we thank you for your support. Today, we've gathered a panel of really fine folks, very excited to explore the whys and hows of warm Japanese beverage in food service. And for some quick introductions, myself, I'm Rachel Fikowski. I've worked with Mutual since 2012, and I am very interested in Japanese food and beverage. We have my good coworkers, Maxwell Lear and Sarah E. Guterbach. Together, we make up the Japanese beverage specialist team. And our great coworker and event coordinator and today's moderator, Masai Kusada-san. She'll be watching the chat in case anyone has questions. We also have joining us Mr. Eto, Mr. Ogasawara, and Mr. Tsuji from Takara, USA. The CEO of Suigei Shuzo, Mr. Okura, the Tosagura Toji of Suigei Shuzo, Mr. Myojin, and Miura-san, the Suigei sales representative, as well as our good friend, Mr. Fukui from Kiku Masamune Shuzo's overseas business division. Everybody give a quick wave, say hey.
Hello.
Zoom being obviously a digital platform, hiccups are inevitable. In case of disconnects, sound issues, Wi-Fi issues, latency issues, just stay on, we'll figure it out, we'll keep it rolling. And I also wanted to mention before we really get into things is that we're having a live raffle at the end of every single webinar. Sets of fine Japanese glassware going out randomly awarded to anyone still in the webinar at the end. The raffle is only for US residents, and to win you must be in the audience at the time. We also highly encourage chatting and questions. There are no limits, no question too basic or weird. We're hoping to hear from you so that we stimulate the kind of conversations that you want to hear. And without further ado, let's see what's on the menu. Our objectives today are to talk about warm sake and shochu. We're going to demystify and explore and offer ideas and context and info that we hope that you can use. And our vendor partners from the indomitable Takara Shuzo, Suigei Shuzo, and Kiku Masamune Shuzo are all here to talk to you about warm beverages, who they are, and the amazing things that they make. And to start that off, let's just very briefly define what we're talking about. We're going to be exploring kanzake, which is warm sake, and oyuwari, which loosely is shochu cut with warm water. For the unindoctrined, shochu is the official national spirit of Japan. It's a distilled product from Kyushu Island, and this traditional spirit clocks in around 50 to 80 proof. The Otsurue Otsushu craft level of this beverage only being distilled a single beautiful time in order to draw out all of the wonderful natural flavors and aromatics pulled from the high quality base ingredients, which, with exceptions, are things like sweet potato, rice, steamed barley, and other agricultural products. Oyuwari isn't found much yet overseas, but this is a long surviving way to drink shochu, and it's considered a norm in southwestern places in Japan like Kagoshima. And for oyuwari, you want to land around within a couple degrees of 42 Celsius or 107 Fahrenheit. And at this level, with that dilution, drinking it that way takes away the bite of the alcohol and lets the many individual flavors in the shochu stand out more clearly. It is so delicious. And on the left side, we might feel a little more familiar with this. The people of Japan have been drinking warm sake for centuries, maybe even more than 2,000 years. And today, you will see that it has survived and thrived. Warm sake is found in restaurants at every level, and not even just in Japan, but in dozens of countries, including our USA, all 50 states. Now, before getting too deep in, we need a second to address the elephant in the room, the thing we're all thinking, but nobody's saying. Of course, oyuwari and shochu are still relatively unknown in the US, so we have the unique opportunity to direct the narrative there. But sake, nihonshu, has existed in some shape or form in the United States for 120 years. And the quality of sake has changed and improved drastically over that time. But still, it's so common in our line of work to come across people who associate warm sake with bad quality sake. This opinion even permeates industry professionals and schools who look down on kanzake. And sometimes I sit down with business owners who tell me we're going to have a great sake program, but no hot sake garbage allowed. And you meet consumers all the time who have only tried hot sake once, and maybe it wasn't warmed correctly, or the sake machine hadn't been cleaned in a while, or it wasn't the best quality sake, and they were forever traumatized never to come back. And well, to anyone who this sounds familiar to, I have a story I want to tell you. A few years ago, some of us had the chance to visit one of our breweries, and we were received with fanfare and shown into a beautiful Japanese dining room, and it was freezing and snowy outside, but inside the room was bright and warm, and two or three women in kimono scurried around us, putting together tiny plates of local delicacies, and after a quick toast, they put in front of me this beautiful carafe of warm sake, and it had this soft, silky texture and this depth and this balance of flavor, and the way that the warm sake matched so well with the soup and the local pickles and the veggies, the tempura and the sashimi, it blew me away. I haven't had warm sake at that point in my life at that level. And when I asked what was in my glass, the Toji looks at me from across the table and he says, "It's his daiginjo." He makes sake for all kinds of people, all kinds of situations, and even his daiginjo will be delicious warm. And that completely changed my perspective, and it wasn't the last time that I would have something that completely surprised me about the warm sake culture of Japan. But I'm not saying you're going to be able to warm up any random ginjo or daiginjo, but that there are alternative, high-end, world-changing experiences that you can provide to your guests and to yourselves. And an experience is something that you provide to the customer that's above and beyond the product itself, that's memorable and easy, that they have options in, and these deliberate acts and customs and history that go hand in hand with any kind of product can be an experience for the customer. Experience could be skydiving, eating in complete darkness, a trip to the Galapagos, or even like a $10 sizzling plate at Denny's. For sake and shochu, the uncomplicated and well executed service of a warm beverage program can create an experience that brings your customers away from their regular lives and drops them right in the middle of Japan. And that warmed daiginjo across the table from the toji to me was an experience. It created positive brand associations, and I definitely feel the need to go back again somehow to have that experience again. I'd even pay a premium for it. Because the experience has to be easy, this means servers should be educated on the service of warm sake and act as guides for customers. Menus should be uncomplicated. The overall occasion should be fun. It can be casual or fancy, whatever you're looking for. But the important thing is that the customer comes because they're attracted to the product and they stay. They come back because of the performance and the execution. You create that brand loyalty to your business, and you create a following of individuals who want to come back to replicate the experience. This will go double for anybody willing to take a chance on teaching their customers about Oyuwari Honkaku Shochu. Not only will you be creating an experience for them, but a new experience. Or for somebody who's been to Japan and who's experienced that already, a surrogate experience, which can be even more valuable if done correctly. And when you explain to them that a glass of Oyuwari Shochu is less than a third the calories of a glass of wine, then you'll have every person in Manhattan lined up outside your door. But really, there are so many reasons to offer warm sake other than just the experience. If the question is why, it's because warm sake, warm shochu is pleasant. It tastes good. It's a way to enjoy something you already like in a different scope. And serving warm beverages provides customers with a changed or enhanced experience. For sake and shochu that are appropriate for warm consumption, drinkers could have more depth, a general softening of the overall taste profile. It's essentially the same as the experience tasting warm tea versus cold tea, warm coffee versus cold coffee. And even the body warming sensation may be why we see a typical association in warm sake with winter consumption. But speaking of winter, um, warm sake sales do spike in cold weather, don't they? That makes sense. But will New York recently okayed 25 capacity dine-in allowance for restaurants, but we don't know how long it'll take to get back to 100. And the outdoor dining scene has been officially recognized as permanent. So we're going to have a couple of trends that go hand in hand with that. Several customers have told me that restaurants are buying out all of the outdoor heating lamps they can find. They're buying enclosures. And even with a heating lamp to your left, though, sitting out there in the frigid cold of the Manhattan winter, you can't tell me you wouldn't kill to warm yourself up on a carafe or two of jizake or oyuwari. And also comfort foods like hot ramen and soba are absolutely going to blow out. And even if you're not eating outside, the takeout program for warm sake in the home could also be a big hit. Sell a small box of sushi. This is a picture of food from Sushi Nas, with a bottle of sake with a little necklace teaching the consumer how to warm up sake in their home. I'm seeing people doing water baths on their stoves or microwaving junmai in coffee mugs. It could be fun. So the question is always, what sake are good to warm? And it's common to look at the different grades of sake and how to treat them a bit like this. The more expensive, artisanal, handmade products at the top, typically being enjoyed chilled, with the lower grades that don't have as much fruity, flowery aromaticity being recommended to enjoy warm. Getting advice from brewers over the years, generally lower aroma, earthy, rice-forward sake are wonderful warm, especially Junmai and Honjozo, and especially Kimoto sake are wonderful warm and chilled. But the sake world, there are always 100 exceptions for every rule. I was in Portland, Maine once. It's freezing, chilled, snowy day again, and I pulled up to an izakaya, and my server sat in front of me and told me he has regulars who drink this super fruity, floral, aromatic Namagenshu sake warm every single day. And I tried it. It was excellent. So there's really an element of testing what you like and what your customers like. And if all else fails and you're not sure what to do or what to pick, Mutual Trading has these spec sheets on our website. You can access them anytime, and the breweries have made official recommendations as to the temperature of consumption. Now, if you're not already in love with the idea of a warm beverage program, I'm going to tell you that typically the sake that moves in any restaurant the most will be kanzake. It moves fast. Tables usually get 2 or more carafes. The markup is huge. The profits can be applied later to making your high-end selections more reasonable, giving your customer a base of a perception that you're sort of providing them with value. For example, a friend of mine told me once that he happened to lower his margins on Dom Perignon to sell at near cost because he just didn't want to have it on his menu anymore. And although nobody purchased the Dom, the sales of his overpriced brands right below the Dom rocketed off. And it's because people knew the price of Dom Perignon and thought, oh, well, I'm probably getting a deal with almost anything here. So they ended up making bank, but never getting rid of all the Dom. And here's a
Rachel,
cup. Yeah, what's
I
up?
was just going to point out the box, the 18-liter box you're talking about, with 10 cents or less per ounce. Those boxes are about 600 ounces, just over 600 ounces. So there's a lot of servings there and an opportunity for huge profit. I just think it's really amazing. And I've had the experience before with some people sort of saying that they don't want to serve that. And I always sort of think, well, you must be crazy because that means you don't want to make money. It's so
I
much.
know. And it's not even a matter of serving what you think is good or bad. It's serving what the customers are looking for. And you don't necessarily even have to use a boxed sake to have a warm beverage program. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of excellent brands available in large format bottles, just like the ones in front of you right now, where you can turn a really good profit per serving um, very easily. Now, the benefit of these large format sizes is you can pour tiny little samples from them without affecting your bottom line that much. You also don't need to just pick one warm sake. Sake has a long shelf life of at least 2 weeks or more, and having 2 or 3 different products open and available for warming will give your customers options for their experience. And since they're open anyway, you can double up on sales opportunities by putting them in sake flights. And not just any flights. Sarah, you mentioned to me this amazing suggestion that these sake above are delicious and significantly different flavor at different temperatures. So why not show the customers that in a hot and cold sake flight? Some of sake's greatest strengths are versatility in serving temperature and food pairing, and the average consumer has never been more interested in trying new things. So warm versus cold in the same flight, same sake would be, I think, very interesting for a lot of people. And speaking of new things, though, for the average American, what's going to be newer than Oyuwari, shochu cut with water? And if you think that New Yorkers aren't ready for shochu, I'd have to say that you're wrong there. New Yorkers are buying a significant amount of shochu themselves from the retail sector, but you're seeing that they're purchasing it there and bringing it home, and I'm so surprised that nobody's drinking it much in restaurants yet, but could just be that they're not available in restaurants yet. Let's take a look at the profit margins too. They're actually not bad. With a 5-ounce serving size, the ABV still remains over 20%. And you're making a significant amount of profit with this 4-time markup. These brands that we're pricing out here, they're all going to be reviewed later by the brewery guests. And I just wanted to show you a few ways that you can serve Oyuari Shochu. For the best presentation, obviously, you have the service option to do your shochu in a small kurojoka. That's this guy, a black pot, or a chirori. This is not a chirori. You can also serve it in a chirori. and this can be heated over a charcoal fire in front of the customers. You also have the option of pre-mixing the oyuwari in the pot and pouring that tableside, or if you're casual, you might want to just bring the glass to the table already prepared. It's simple as you like. But you don't need these things if you don't want to invest in them. Shochu, sake, these worlds are as casual or fancy as you like them, and everybody should be able to enjoy them in their own way. You can use your own mugs, your own teapots for the hot water. You can bring the glasses to the table pre-mixed. But my personal favorite service method is when the restaurant lets me pour the water and the shochu myself. Again, turning a product into an experience. I've been left to fend for myself with just a hot water pot, a serving of shochu, and an empty glass. And it allowed me, the customer, to experiment with the ratios myself and find my favorite dilution ratio. And this gave me a feeling of ownership and personal knowledge about the drink. It excited me when I thought about bringing friends to share that experience and to learn about that thing. Now, the key to oyuwari is that the water always goes first. You can play with the ratios, you can play with the ingredients, but absolutely pour the warm water first because it will warm your glass and it will cool off a little bit before you pour the shochu in. We have a number of earthenware shochu vessels available at MTC, so ask your sales rep about it if you're interested. Um, but New York Mutual is also happy to offer staff trainings and informational flyers to local clients to help you implement these programs. For warm sake now, there are a number of ways you can present kanzake service that Americans are already familiar with. They've seen the tokuri, they've seen the ochoko. You can also surprise them with unique tableside warming mechanisms like these above, which utilize indirect heat or water setups. I highly recommend having one or more sake thermometers as well on the bottom right. However you do it though, you should commit to memory the temperature that your sake should be warmed to and always watch that it's not overheating. And the SSI provides students with a list of temperatures for sake, and this list is not exclusive to the SSI. It's available online and it's widely known in the industry, and it's always a question of what sake should be enjoyed at what temperature. Not every single sake, not every single shochu out there is going to perform well in the same place. So it's nice to be able to target certain temperatures and test out a certain sake at each level to find the sweet spot. If all of this seems a little complicated and time consuming for your operation, our partners at the Taiji Corporation can most likely help you. I love these machines because they're fast, they're reasonably priced for the performance that you get out of them, and the temperature is always completely accurate. You have the option of using whatever format bottle you like or no bottle at all, depending on the machine that you purchase, and you can even connect them like on the right side. But one thing I must caution is that this is a standard in Japan, but in the USA it's pretty much unheard of. When you use one of these machines in your restaurant, you must clean it all the time. If you can, every single day. Flush it out with hot water, or at least once a week. Bacteria loves the inside of sake warming machines, and if you don't do proper upkeep, your sake is going to come out seasoned with the equivalent of like sake warmer morning breath every single pour. And this is a big reason many Americans think that sake tastes like gasoline or dirt. They're being served dirty products. So please, please clean your machines. And if that is even too much money or too much effort for you, or maybe it would take up too much space, we still have some suggestions. You could invest in a $100 sous vide immersion stick and pop in one or two chirori or sake tampo that are made from quick to warm metals, also available at mtckitchen.com. And my favorite method is really this. It's warming the sake up in a hot water bath. This is the most even and gentle way to warm, and although it takes longer than the machines, it will always produce the most mild and delicious results. Depending on your starting temp, it might only take like 2 to 4 minutes, and you can do it easily at home. From me, that's everything you needed to know as far as the basics. Now, I wanted to relinquish the floor to my esteemed colleagues at Takara Shuzo.
So, hello everyone. So we are from the Takara Sake. Me, Tsuji, and Mr. Eto and Mr. Ogasawara will explain our brewery and product. But before introducing our company and product, let me start with some US sake market situation right now. So this is the increasing ratio comparison, wine versus sake. For the past 3, 4, 5 years. Sake has been increasing, especially in 2018. We marked 8.4% increase. And last year, increased by 4.7%. On the other hand, wine has been almost flat for the past 3 years in the United States market. So this shows like how sake has been increasing dramatically for the past few years comparing the wine. And this wine and sake includes the number of the imported wine and sake and also domestic wine and sake as well. And when we take a look at imported sake in the United States for the past 10 years, it has been also increasing very much compared to the 2010. By the quantity, it increased by 74%. So this shows how Japanese food, beverage, has been enjoyed in the United States more and more for the past 10 years. And this is the sake market in the United States. As you can see, Takara Sake has been almost 29% in share last year. And since 1990, Takara Sake has been the top share in the United States market. And in 2018, we marked 22nd top California wine supplier. So you can see 29% here, and this chart showing by the case, and 31,000 cases. This quantity is our US sake quantity is almost the same quantity as the imported sake to United States last year. So let us introduce our company itself. Our Takara Sake established in 1983 in Berkeley, California. And we don't only produce like Junmai sake, but also like some unique products such as organic sake or like fruit flavor sake to fit the taste of the US consumers for the past 30, 40 years. Also in Berkeley, unfortunately right now it's being closed temporarily, but we have tasting room and museum in Berkeley. And last year, more than 11,000 visitors came to the tasting room to enjoy our sake product and to learn the sake history. Our sake in the United States, we use great quality rice from Sacramento, California Valley. And fortunately, we could get very good quality water, a pure snow-melt water from the Sierra Nevada mountains as well. And in the brewery, we keep doing the traditional sake and craftsmanship. Always our Toji, brew master, came from Japan, and he's very experienced. He has very much experience in Japan. So he is the top and the leader of our production team. And we also using some kind of modern technology such as vertical rice polishing machine or like semi-automatic koji making machine as well. So let me introduce the first product I wanted to introduce, Shochu by Classic. It's available 18 liter or 1.5 or 750 or even a small size 180 milliliter. This sake, Shochu by Classic, received the gold medal for the domestically produced sake at the United States national competition called US Sake Appraisal in 2011. In the time, more than 300 breweries from Japan entered this competition, and the Shochu Classic is the one and only United States domestic sake for which gained the gold medal. So we are very proud of our quality and confident with our product quality of the Shochu Classic. And we also use Sacrament, but we use very high quality rice from Sacrament Valley, as I mentioned, and the snow melt from the Sierra Nevada mountains. And our Toji is very strict about our quality, and every time we ship, every time we sell, he strictly monitored our quality before we shipped. So as Rachel-san explained before, sake can be enjoyed by any temperature, and you can feel some differences by the temperature. So when you serve the Shochu Classic by the room temperature, you can tell like aroma of the macadamia nuts or nutmeg or some subtle hint of the vanilla as well. And also umami or like apple or minerality came forward when serving at room temperature. On the other hand, we also recommend like noodle can temperature, like 40 degrees. Umami perception increased, and also like you can taste the soft mouthfeel is still remaining. And flavor will be changed to some kind of the salted custard or like some banana bread or toasted nuts. So if you have some sample or like if you have any chance, maybe I recommend to enjoy both noodle can and room temperature, and you see the very huge difference, those two. And just like mellow wine, this when we served noodle can, it has smooth and long finish. And for the food pairing, of course, we can recommend like sushi or sashimi dishes or tempura, especially Shochu Classic will be better with the shrimp tempura. But we also recommend to enjoy with the cheese, like cheddar cheese or like medium firm white cheese or even young fresh cheese as well. And many of the guests, maybe you know about we have another 18-liter sake called Koshu Masamune as well. We can recommend this product at any wide range of the temperature, like from chilled room temperature, you can feel the aroma of steamed rice and the sort of hint of the vanilla and nutmeg as well. But when you warm, like 45 degrees or something, flavors of course expand, and some sake became more richer and more complex, and umami came forward when we served. And you enjoy with the sushi roll or vegetable tempura or like some goat type cheese as well. So before we introduce the final product of the sake, let us introduce our parent company in Japan, Takara Shuzo. Takara Shuzo established in 1842 in Kyoto, Fushimi. And surprisingly, Takara Shuzo Shochukubai, first time exported to United States is 1951. So which means Shochukubai has been in the United States market for the past 70 years. So we have some, since those time, we have been exporting more and more quantity of our sake. And our position in Japan, since 2018, we have been the top share of the sake brewery, and we have a brand of the Shochukubai brewed in Kyoto, and we have another brand called Shira Kawekura, located in Kobe. Also, we make the shochu and have been the top company in Japan for a long time, including the Korei type shochu, Takara shochu, and some other sweet potato shochu or buckwheat shochu. And we also producing the like home milling seasoning, and it's been the top share in Japan for the long time. And we also producing the some unique type of the drink called kanchuhai, like shochu highball in a can. It has been becoming very trend in Japan as well. And here's our brewery, distillery, and sales branches. So let's introduce our brewery called Shirakabegura. Shira means white, Kabe means wall, and Gura means brewery. Located in the Nara, Kobe. And in this brewery, Shirakabegura, we only producing award-winning sake only. Production below like sparkling sake, Junmai Daiginjo, Kimoto, Yamahai, and Tokubetsu Junmai. This brewery has been awarded for 13 consecutive years at the national big competition called Shinshu Kampyokai. So we are very confident with our Shirakabegura product quality as well. Shirakabegura main characteristic is utilizing the very famous water for the brewing called Miyamizu. And we select a very high quality rice carefully depending on the sake. For example, when we brew the ginjo or the ginjo style, we use Yamada Nishiki style, but for the junmai, we use another type of rice. And we combined expert knowledge and experience with the cutting edge technology in this brewery so that we can make very high quality sake. So this is the last product I wanted to introduce today. This is the Shirakabegura Tokubetsu Junmai. Actually, this is not available in the Japan. This is only available for the export only, and this product has been produced to fit the taste of the United States consumers. And this product has been awarded as the silver medal in 2019 and gold medal in 2016 at United Sake Appraisal. This Tokubetsu Junmai using the carefully selected rice called 500 mangoku and mineral rich water called Miyamizu as well. So also taste profile by the temperature. First, if you serve by the chilled called yukibiye, you can tell the fresh aroma with the hint of green apples, or like flavor of the like some kind of the watermelon or cucumber, or some subtle hint of the mineral as well. In Nurukan, it became more full body and soury, and more umami came out when you serve at Nurukan 40 degrees. So also you can taste the flavors of the white mushroom or some banana or white flowers as well. Just for your information, we can recommend other products of the Shirakabegura as kanzake as well. Both Kimoto Junmai and Yamahai Junmai is now available in the market. But all the products using the 500 mangoku and Miyamizu. So for the food pairing, we can recommend like white fish grilled or like sushi, but I recommend some kind of unique food for the sake, like white cheese pizza or white cream pasta, or some snacks like cheese and popcorn as well. So that's everything for the sake. So Rachel-san, we should move on to the shochu or like some.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay. So from here, let me explain today's recommended shochu product. Sushi-san, could you please?
Yes. Sorry, it's freezing.
Okay.
Let me open the screen again.
Today, we would like to introduce two types of shochu. One is sweet potato, two is soba, buckwheat shochu. So thank you very much, Rachel-san. The explanation for you, Wari, is perfect. I can't say anything. But, let me, thank you so much. So here, so two brands we would like to recommend. So 全量芋焼酎1個も and soba 焼酎とわり全量. So before explaining the specific product, we would like to introduce our distillery in Kyushu region, Japan. So our distillery called Kurokabegura, located in Takanabe town, Miyazaki Prefecture. As you can see, the PowerPoint sheet surrounded by beautiful nature, like very nice sea, nice river, beautiful mountains. The distillery is very nice location. So here is our strength of Kurokabegura. We are dedicated to producing high quality shochu to take special care of every single process. Also, we are committed to providing the best ingredients for the product. So next, here is the Imo Shochu Ikkomon. Of course, this is single distilled shochu, honkaku shochu, 50 proof. Also, this is distilled from sweet potatoes. And most importantly and most uniquely, this Ikkomon is brewed with 100% sweet potato and also using only South Kyushu sweet potato. Here is our recommendation. Of course, today, OURE. It's, thank you very much, Rachel-san explained, 60% of shochu and 40% water would be perfect. Temperature-wise, 100 to 115 would be the idea. So this is food pairing. Fried chicken, yakitori, grilled fish, even natto cheese tofu is perfect match with our product.
Natto cheese tofu looks delicious.
Yes. So this is another recommendation. In States, we are a lot of cocktail culture. We can use Ikkomon as a cocktail. Here is a recipe, Imo Karua. Okay, so here is another other shochu. This is also honkaku shochu, 50 proof, distilled from buckwheat. As you can see, this is soba. Most importantly, this towari is brewed with 100% buckwheat. In other words, buckwheat plus buckwheat koji.
Ogasawara-san, that's
Yes.
very difficult, right? To grow koji on buckwheat.
Yes. Also, it's very difficult to create imo koji for Ikkomon. So typically, distillery in Japan use kome koji, rice koji, to produce even sweet potato, buckwheat, the other shochu.
じゃあどうしてそういうそば麹とか芋麹をこだわるんでしょうか? What does it change? Why do they want to use buckwheat koji and sweet potato shoji?
Yes. So our philosophy is how to create best product for the market. Towari is created maybe 10 or 15 years ago in Japan. And at that time, there is only the soba shochu using buckwheat soba and komekoji, rice wheat. I believe that Towari is the first soba shochu using 100% buckwheat.
I see.
Yes. So I strongly recommend this product. I believe this is very good for us, for Japanese, but also in US market, this is very good for the US consumers. So our recommendation, of course, oyuwari, and also I would like to recommend soba yuwari. It's very popular to add soba cooking water to soba tsuyu and have them after eating soba noodle. Using this soba yu, adding 30% of shochu and 70% of soba yu might be great how to drink.
It sounds
So,
delicious. Thank you.
yes. So here is our recommendation for the food pairing: fried oysters, stir-fried pork with ginger, meatball. Of course, soba noodle is very good to with food with shochu. So lastly, I would like to recommend. So some maybe freezing.
It's freezing again, sorry.
Okay.
So
Lastly, I would like to recommend one cocktail menu called Towari Towari Negroni. Yes, Towari Negroni.
A Tawari
Yes.
Negroni. That sounds wonderful.
Yes. So for us, that's all.
yes.
I
I- so thank you very much. So if you are looking forward to you're interested in our products, you can go to our website, and also our tasting room now started to do some virtual sake tasting event right now. So if you're interested in some kind of event, please take a look at our website. Or like we have Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube to show the unique sake cocktails or shochu cocktails. And we have been uploading 2 or 3 cocktails every month. So if you are looking for the cocktails as well, please go to our social media as well. So, レイチェルさん、ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。
Gozaimashita. Thank you for all the wonderful information. I really enjoyed your food pairings and your descriptions of the sakes. And up next, we have a real amazing treat. Mira-san from Suigei Shuzo, please start us off on introducing your amazing brewery. And ちょっと聞こえないんです。
I think it's mute.
Still mute, yes.
About this, yes.
Perfect.
Perfect. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, is that okay if we start now?
よろしくお願いします。
Okay. じゃあ、安藤さん、パワーポイントをお願いします。じゃあ、
So for anybody watching at home, watching at work, don't hold back. If anything piques your interest, please absolutely ask your questions in the chat.
Okay. So first of all, thank you very much today. So we are Suigei Brewery. And first, let us introduce our members. So this is CEO Hirokuni Okura. And this is our Tosagura Toji, so chief sake maker, Akira Makoto Myojin. Okay, thank you very much. So okay, let's start our presentation. Oops. Okay.
Nice ceiling.
Yeah. Back to the door. Okay. So we are Suigei Brewing, and so we are located in Kochi, and we've got the two brewery, so two kura in Kochi. So one is called Nagahamakura, and another one is called Tosagura. Nagahamakura is located in Kochi City and producing regular products, and Tosagura located in Tosa City and producing high-end sakes. And our CEO, so Hirokuni Okuda, and our annual production is around 4,400 koku, which is about like 800 kiloliters. Then, so about 1.1 million bottles. So we are not too, so big. So we are kind of middle size. And then whereabouts in Suigei Shuzo. So well, please look at the map on the left. So we are located in Kochi Prefecture. So, and we are in a small island called Shikoku, and located in southern west Japan. And we are surrounded by nature and sandwiched between dense forests in the north and Great Pacific Ocean to the south. And average temperature is warm, and the agricultural industry thrives here. And so the people of Kochi have a southern character to them, and we are progressive, and we've got self-changing mindset. And so we are known as sake lovers. So we love Enkai. So that's what people think what we are. So if so someone asks us where are you from, and if we say, oh, I'm from Kochi, so they say, oh, you must love sake, or you must drink a lot, or something like that. And so these are beautiful scenery in Kochi. And on the left, so a clear forest stream in Kochi. Actually, Kochi's forest coverage is #1 in the whole of Japan at 80, so more than 80% of forest. And on the right, Nagahama Beach. So Nagahama is the beach, so close to the beach of Pacific Ocean, and it brings Pacific Ocean. Because of Pacific Ocean, we got the air from there. We've got the highest rainfall. So annual rainfall is about 2,500 millimeters. And so these factors actually allow us to have beautiful soft water. And so we also grow sake rice in Kochi. And our Shuzo Kotekimai is called Jin no Yume. That's the most popular sakamai in Kochi. So sakamai developed and grown in Kochi, and so actually Jin no Yume is so one of the parents is Yamada Nishiki, and so Jin no Yume is suitable for drawing out a well-rounded flavor because this is due to the Yamada Nishiki parentage, as well as Kochi's specialty. So that's a steady and strong acidity. And so we also make sake using Gin no Yume. So on the left, that's Koik 54 Junmai Ginjo, and on the right, Gin no Yume Junmai. And this is so our Tosagura. Actually, we are now in Tosagura, which you probably don't see much today. But so we are in Tosagura, and actually, so Tosagura began brewing in 2018, so 2 years ago, so quite new here. And everything is done internally, from polishing to bottling, and we specialize in small batch high-end brewing techniques. And yeah, one of the important things here is we polish rice here. So most of the brewery, especially with our size, outsource rice polishing, but we wanted to control it. So we've got rice polishing machine, and we polish rice by ourselves. And this is inside, yeah, Tosagura. And on the left top, the koji room, the most important place in sake brewing. And on the left bottom, so shubo room, so temperature control shubo room, where we brew the mother starter. And on the top right, the sake tanks designed for workability. And on the below right, so specially designed tanks monitor and adjust temperature. And this is our cellar door. So we all have brewery tours, the tasting here. So please visit us anytime. We'll be waiting. And let us talk about bit of warm sake relationship with so our relationship with some warm sake. So we've got so to talk about this, we've got mention henpai culture to Ginjo brewing. Hold on. Well, so actually, so we got to talk about henpai culture. So henpai is with others. So hang your cup over to the field by your partners, then drink partner's sake is henpai. So literal translation is just a return cup or something like that. And then this will be repeated many times. So it's likely everyone will be drunk, yeah, very drunk, yeah. And enkai, that's party or banquet, is an important opportunity for communication for Tosa people, Kochi people. So it is said that if 3 people gather, so enkai, so party begins. Such is how much people of Kochi love enkai. So we argue while drinking endlessly is traditional Tosa. And henpai and kanzake. So it's usual that warm sake is used in henpai. Although warm sake has a winter image in most other places in Japan, it's natural to perform henpai with warm sake even in summer in Kochi. And from henpai culture to Ginjo brewing, that's our kind of history. So typically futsushu, that's ungraded sake or table sake, was warmed to use in henpai. And Suigei Shuzo is establishment in 1870 during the Meiji era. First focused on the production of futsushu in order to support that culture. And utilizing southern brewing techniques developed and polished, then we able to brew Ginjo grade sake as our core products. So today we brew a diverse range of sake from futsushu to meishoshu. So that's a grade sake or specially designated sake like Junmai Ginjo or Junmai Danginjo. And this is a map of each prefecture's Ginjo sake taste profile. So in the middle, that's Japan average, and Hyogo, Kyoto, Ishikawa, some famous prefectures in the map, and so Kochi. So taste profile of Kochi is on the left, top left. So high acidity and high amino acid, and very dry. So then, with Suigei Shuzo actually should be somewhere still on the left of average of Kochi. So we make a quite dry and high acidity sake. And this taste of Suigei, the Tosa region's traditional Christian dry flavor. Outside, sake that makes the best quality of the features light shine. The quality and polishing of the rice varietals we select are carefully monitored so that we may make the rice's charm into the sake's charm. And harmony with the elements of flavor. To help sake function, as a companion to meals, sake has a refreshing acidity and notable bitterness. And so 5 elements of flavor that's organized as such in Japan. So sweet and salty, sour, bitter, and umami. And so sake that lifts up the meal, so made to enjoy with meals. So our sake is to make people enjoy with meals. And the recommended sake for warming. So first, Suigei Tokubetsu Junmai. So this is Suigei's best-selling sake, so value for money. And the rice, so using the sake rice and table rice and the rice polishing rate, so 50% remaining, and the alcohol, so 50%, and so Nihonshido +7, acidity 1.7, and the amino acid 1.2, and some tasting comment is like gentle and mild aroma with moderate umami and high amount of acidity. So this is this is easy to enjoy with various dishes. And when it is warm, so our recommended temperature should be around 45 degrees. So actually 45 maybe little high, but just try to hit the 45, and as the temperature goes down, you enjoy it, and you find your sweet spot of the sake. And when it's warmed, so as it becomes soft and rounded, and sweetness and umami goes up, and acidity and sweetness and umami, so mild soft acidity and sweetness, and you can feel a bit more sweetness and a bit more umami, and they are still really well balanced. And this one. So even if the warm sake, so this sake after warm, then it cools off, the flavor still remains intact. And the next one. Yes.
That's a really good point. It wasn't mentioned, but it's so true that sake, when you warm up and then it gets cool again,
yep.
The flavor totally changes, and sometimes just can't drink anymore. But I've definitely noticed Suigei Tokubetsu Junmai just always up or down, up or down. It's really great. I'm smelling the warm version right now, and it's got this sort of honey-like malted barley kind of smell. It's really gorgeous.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much.
I also have a question.
Yep.
ごめんね。So the acidity, the sando on here is a little bit higher. Is that because of the yeast, or is it because you're adding a more lactic acid to the shubo?
Okay, so probably our Toji will answer it. 酸がちょっと高いっていうのはなんでだっていう。
酸が高いっていうのは、我々はそういうお酒を目指してるっていうのがあって、作り方をちょっと酸が高くなるような作りをしてるっていうのが。
なるほど、なるほど。その作りの方は、酸味を高くなるため、どんなふうにやってます？その工房のせいか、やり方のせいか。
まず酵母のセレクトはやってますね。はい。
酵母ですか。はい。ありがとうございます。So it's the yeast. Yes, thank you.
Okay. So Rachel, do you want to translate to the people? No?
Of course.
It's okay.
Can
you do that? Yep.
Yeah, the way that they make the sake's acidity a little higher than other areas is they have very careful selection of yeast strains at Suigei.
Okay. Can I move to the next one? Okay, thank you. Okay, then, so going to the Suigei Koiku 54 Junmai Ginjo. This is I would say local sake of Tosa, Kochi, made from a local rice, ginnoime. So that's what I mentioned earlier. So the rice ginnoime. So from Kochi and rice polishing rate, 50% remaining. Then alcohol 60% and Nihonshu sake meter value +7. So acidity 1.8 and the amino acid is so 1. Hold on, I cannot see. 1.0. So if we so compare this with Tokubetsu Junmai, so acidity of koiku is a bit higher and amino acid is a bit lower. The rice polishing ratio, so 50% of this is less remaining. And well, the tasting comment is like a gentle and mild ginjo aroma with moderate umami and high amount of acidity and creamy texture. Actually, well, koiku 54 has got a more acidity. Well, you feel more acidity than Tokubetsu Junmai, and less umami, and has got a nice mild ginjo aroma with silky creamy texture. And when it is warmed, our recommendation is around 40, so lower than for Tokubetsu Junmai. So that's Nurukan 40, about 40 degree. And when it's warmed, so acidity becomes soft and rounded. So this is again, but still exists more than Suigei Tokubetsu Junmai. So you feel more acidity, which is which became soft and rounded, and so sweetness and umami also goes up, and you still feel more acid existence, but less sweetness and umami than Suigei Tokubetsu Junmai. Maybe because so koiku has got a more acid, or so originally less, also probably less. And well, so Suigei koiku 54. So it can go well with some warm dishes, warm or hot dishes with probably high acid to make it congruent, or so some dishes needing acid to complement the 5 elements of flavor. So for example, so we recommend some, like actually Tokubetsu Junmai, so Atsukan for warm sake of Tokubetsu Junmai go well with a lot of stuff, but so this koiku 54 can so pinpoint like pot, but with some like so needing some citrus flavor. Like we use sometimes hot pot yuzu pon. So that's like soy sauce with like vinegar and some yuzu citrus flavor. So a little bit of yuzu flavor. Or that kind of. So that kind of hot. And also like some fried dishes, and also some like a grilled fish, or so to put some like a citrus or on the dishes, or that's kind of plate will be good match for koiku 54 especially. That's what I think. And the last one, so coming soon 2020. Actually this is our new product called Suigei Junmai Ginjo Harmony. So 100% Yamada and 50% of rice polished ratio, and has got a vibrant ginjo aroma, because so this harmony uses, or this yeast is number 9, association is number 9 and number 1801, and actually number 8, so 1801 is produces high acetic acid and ethyl caprolate. So ethyl caprolate is so gives gives nice delicious apple aroma. So this got nice delicious apple aroma as well, and texture is very round and soft, but with a so this is Suigei style, short, clean finish. And well, actually a flavor that breaks free from our typical dry Suigei image because of the nice apple-like aromas and so round and soft texture, but still like a short, clean finish. So gives you Suigei's style. And this is limited sale only for USA. Okay, thank you very much.
Only USA sounds great. We'll take it all.
Ando-san, I know we only have 1 more minute with you, but I wanted to just ask really quickly again, why do you have a whale on the label?
なんでクジラはラベルに入ってるかっていう。Okay, so 大倉さん will answer.
高知の海にホットサワーにクジラがたくさんいたから。
Well, so you mean so why you use logo of whale or why we use?
Yes, I'd like our listeners in the United States to know why you have that for your symbol.
もともとでも水芸って名前になんでついたかっていうその辺。
山の中
ですね。もうはい。難しい言葉。あ、じゃあ。Okay, 少し話す。So why we name Suigei? That's basically our why we use so whale logo, yeah. Actually, this comes from a pen name of so Yamanouchi Yodoko, which is Lord of Tosa domain, or long ago in Meiji, so at end of Meiji era. And so it comes from Gei word called Geikai Suiko. Geikai Suiko means, so Yamanouchi Yodo, that's a Lord of Tosa domain, thinks well, he's like a drunken whale in the big ocean. And so we just decided to use that, so drunken whale.
I see. So it was the nickname of the feudal lord from many decades ago from your local history.
Yes, that's right. That's it. And named after that one.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. I especially love the information about the culture of your area and Enkai and Henpei. It's very beautiful.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Okura-san, thank you so much. Miura-san, thank you so much. Myojin-san, also thank you so much. And we have one last amazing presentation for you by Mr. Fukui of Kiku Masamune Shuzo in Hyogo Prefecture. Mr. Fukui, dozo. Oh, great. There it is. Thank you so much. Now, Fukui-san, you've been with us with Mutual for a long time. We're always so happy to work with you.
Yes.
I see. How is sake made?
Oh yeah. Just a moment. It's freeze.
There we go. We've got some latency issues between the US and Japan, I think. It takes some time for them to shoot over the data packets, I'm sure, from the other side of the world. While
Okay.
There it is. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. So hello everyone. My name is Fukui of Kiku Masamune Sake Brewery. I'd like to thank you for giving me a chance to speak here today. I'm here to talk to you about our brewery and products and the traditional sake making method, Kimoto Zukuri. Because most of Kiku Masamune sakes are brewed by Kimoto Zukuri. Let's start with our company information. So Kiku Masamune was established in 1659. one of the old sake brewery in Japan. And Kiku Masamune's family company, the current president, his name is Jiroemon Kano. He is a 12th generation's president. Kiku Masamune produce sake and shochu and umeshu and cosmetics too. And Kiku Masamune is located in Nara in Japan. I think, Nara is Japan's #1 sake producing region. So, do you know Nara? I think no one knows Nara, but maybe you know Kobe, because Kobe is very famous as Kobe beef. So Kobe is very wonderful and beautiful place. It is very nice view from local mountain, and there are hot spring called onsen. Arima Onsen is very famous. It is one of 3 major hot springs in Japan. So Kobe is like a paradise. So please come to Kobe and please come to our brewery someday. So then I'll be talking about the origin of the name Kiku Masamune. So Kiku is chrysanthemum. This is symbol flower in Japan. So Masamune is the excellent Japanese sword. So Kiku Masamune sake is very sharp and dry taste like a Masamune sword. Sorry.
Should I try sharing from the PowerPoint you emailed me?
Okay. 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 Sorry. So then I'll be talking about how is sake made. Sake is made from rice, and the enzyme from the koji converts the starch into in the rice into sugar, and the yeast produce alcohol from sugar. So next, I would like to explain the process of making moto. This is by mixing steamed rice and the water and the koji and the yeast. It contains a large amount of yeast, which promotes the moromi fermentation process. So I'll be talking about the mechanism of making moto. As a start, the moto contains many microbes. So when warm, the koji produces sugar, from which natural lactic acid bacteria produce lactic acid. The lactic acid gradually becomes more concentrated, killing most of the microbes other than the lactic acid bacteria. At this point, lactic acid resistant yeast begins to grow more active. The lactic acid bacteria are gradually killed off by the acid they produce and by the alcohol by the yeast. So what remains is superior quality yeast resistant to lactic acid. So finally, only is survive. So making moto has 2 ways, the kimoto and sokujo moto. So kimoto is a traditional method of making moto that cultivates lactic acid bacteria before yeast propagation. And on the other hand, sokujo moto is a modern method to increase commercial lactic acid. So Kimoto takes about 4 weeks to complete. During this time, the number of yeast cells reach up 200 million per gram. In the Sokujomoto method, lactic acid is added at the start. So it takes about 2 weeks to complete the moto. So, but in Kimoto, about twice as much time is spent on carefully preparing the moto.
I think that's a very good graphic. It's quite difficult to show the difference sometimes very simply between Kimoto and Sokujo. So I really like what you're doing here.
Thank you. Okay, so next I'll be talking about what is different Kimoto and Sokujo moto. So there are two differences. The first is yeast. The yeast grow in Sokujo moto. The yeast cannot survive in the sake mash with high alcohol contents at the end of the fermentation period. When yeast will be dyed yeast become unpleasant taste that called zatsumi in Japanese in sake. On the other hand, the yeast growing Kimoto are very tough. The tough yeast cultivated using the Kimoto method continues to ferment actively even in the sake mash with a high alcohol contents at the end of a fermentation period, and creates a crisp, dry sake without rough taste. The second point of the differences between Kimoto and Sokujo moto, it is amino acid and peptide composition in sake. The peptide in sake brewed by Kimoto are more than sake brewed by Sokujo moto. So Sokujo moto sake contains much of amino acid. The taste is very rich and full-bodied. On the other hand, Kimoto sake contains much of peptide. The taste is not only rich, but also complex and deep and long lingering. So next, I'll be talking about why Kimoto sake are especially good choice when choosing sake for warming. So Sokujo moto sake has much of amino acid compared with the Kimoto sake. So when Sokujo moto sake warms up, both rich taste called umami and unpleasant taste called zatsumi both are enhanced. The Kimoto sake has much of peptide. So when Kimoto sake warms up, umami is enhanced with less zatsumi. So Kimoto sake has a superb flavor of authentic dryness and a refreshing crisp finish that lacks any unpleasant sweetness. If you want to know more details about Kimoto, please watch the video, access this YouTube channel. And finally, I would like to introduce about our sake, Kimoto Junmai. This sake is also made by Kimoto method. So Kimoto Junmai becomes mild and well-rounded, savory taste without zatsumi when it warms up. This sake goes well with sushi and sashimi and tempura and soba, and also goes well with cream sauce and cheese. For example, clam chowder and cheese macaroni. This sake, I recommend drink 45 degree. It's my recommendation. And next, Kimoto Junmai Daiginjo. This is also brewed by Kimoto. The Junmai Daiginjo is a slight soft sweetness and elegant fragrance, a smooth finish and mellow aftertaste. This sake goes well with caviar and carpaccio and prosciutto. So this sake I recommend drink chilled. And next, taru sake. This sake is mature in the cask. It's made of finest cedar and bottled just as this aroma reaches its peak for optimal enjoyment. So this sake has a refreshing cedar aroma and very smooth and spicy and smoky flavor. So this sake goes well with something grilled food, grilled eel and grilled chicken and barbecue. So well, that is from me. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Fukui-san. I wanted to note that there was one time I had the taru sake from you warm in a restaurant, and it was really delicious.
ありがとうございます。Thank
I
you.
do prefer chilled and room temperature, but warm was really surprising good. All right, so last thing we wanted to do for this webinar was the raffle. Masai-san, if you would not mind to pull our lucky winner out of our hat, our internet number randomizer hat.
Rachel, while Masai is pulling that out, will you tell everyone your experience with the Shochu by Nigori that you were sharing with us?
Oh my gosh, when we were gossiping about sakes the other day, and I happened to taste Shochikubai's very sweet, very creamy, very delicious Nigori sake warm, and it was like your mother's warm milk, except for me and as an adult. It was such a treat. It was something I never expected. Again, Nigori, things that I don't expect always happening, but I never thought that I would ever warm a Nigori sake up and even try it. It was delicious.
I think that's a really important thing to think about from this seminar, the surprising things that you can experiment with drinking warm, like daiginjo or the taru or the nigori. Yeah, it's really fascinating.
All right.
Masai, you got a number? You got a person?
I do. So I randomly pick, in case you can't hear me, I picked randomly someone from our audience who's currently here. It looks like our winner is Nick Dang. I'm going to chat with you directly or send you an email, and congratulations for being our second raffle winner for the day. Thank you so much for being with us.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Nick. Congratulations on your new set of beautiful glassware.
Rachel, do we have time for one more question to the panel?
I think we have time for one more question. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a question. It was something we were gossiping about as well. I wanted to ask our friends in Japan if they've seen any unique ways of warming sake for guests in restaurants.
じゃあ、ミラさん、日本では、福井さんも含めて、日本ではレストランの中でユニークな缶酒をする方法ってあるんでしょうか？そういうのは見えないんでしょうかと。ミラさん、you'reミュートされてます。
そしたら大倉さんが、はい、こんにちは。
こんにちは。
おかんばんさんって言って、おかんを必ず例えば水芸ならこの温度とか、このお酒ならこの温度っていう、そういうお酒に合った温度を管理している人がいて、そのお酒を出す人がいらっしゃいます。そういうお店もありますね。
Oh, so there are stores that specialize in the warming of sake, and a specific person will actually stand there and monitor the temperatures. So that's one unique way. すごいですね。缶酒のために。ね。
I went to a bar in Shibuya once that did that. It was a kanzake bar. そう面白いだよね。
It's very nice, especially we're coming up on winter. So I think warm sake is going to be very popular this year. And I'm really glad that so many people took the time to come out and learn with us and talk with us. And to all of our panelists, thank you for joining. Thank you for spending your time and staying up until, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the morning to join us. And I really, really appreciate your efforts. And to all our customers, you will now be redirected to an order form. If you'd like to send in your orders, we have special pricing. We have an area where you can request samples. And please ask your New York Mutual Trading sales reps or contact myself, Maxwell, Sarah, at any time if you have any questions. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you in the next panel about sustainability in sake, spirits, and cocktails. ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございます。Thank you.
Thank you.
ありがとうございました。